My beloved child, let your soul be still for a moment and listen to my voice rising above every noise of the world. There is something I want to engrave deeply upon your heart today. My purpose has never been merely to change your circumstances. I do not come to you simply as the one who solves problems, nor do I appear only in difficult moments and then disappear when the storm has passed. What I desire above all is to draw you near to my heart, so that you may not only know of my power, but also understand the love, the nature, and the faithfulness of the one who created you. For a person who only knows how to receive gifts but does not know the giver will quickly forget the value of the gift. But the one who knows the heart of their Father will discover a treasure that never fades. My beloved child, many times in the past, you have asked me to move in a specific situation. You expected me to open a door, change a circumstance, or remove a burden. And I heard those prayers. Not one of them was lost in the heavens. As it is written, before they call, I will answer while they are still speaking. I will hear, Isaiah 65:24. Yet while you were focused on what you hoped to receive, I was doing a deeper work within your soul. I was teaching you to recognize that the most precious thing is not what my hand gives, but my presence with you. For when you truly find me, you will discover that the source of every blessing is greater than the blessing itself. My child, there are movements taking place that natural eyes cannot see, just as a seed lies deep in the soil before it rises as a green shoot. Many things I am doing are still beneath the surface. You see silence, but I see preparation. You see emptiness, but I see a work being built. You see delay, but I see the perfect time drawing nearer day by day. As my word is declared, no eye has seen, no ear has heard, and no human heart has conceived the things God has prepared for those who love Him. 1 Corinthians 2:9. There are things being formed in the unseen realm that will one day become clear in the visible reality of your life. Remember the story of Elisha and his servant on the mountain. When the enemy surrounded the city, the servant trembled in fear because he saw only the army before his eyes. But Elisha prayed and said, Lord, open his eyes so that he may see. And immediately, the servant saw the angelic armies filling the mountains around them. This reveals a profound truth. The fact that you cannot see does not mean I am not working. There are armies of grace, heavenly arrangements, and invisible protections moving around your life that you cannot yet fully perceive. My beloved child, perhaps you still remember the long nights when your heart was nearly drained of hope. There were moments when you wondered whether I was still listening. There were times when your prayers were nothing more than weak sighs in the darkness. But in those very moments, I was very near to you. As it is written, the Lord is close to the brokenhearted. Psalm 34:18. I did not stand far away observing your pain. I entered into it with you. I sustained you when your strength was gone. I kept the flame of faith from being extinguished, even when you thought you had nothing left to offer. And that small faith pleased me. Do not despise the times when you only had enough strength to whisper a short prayer. Do not think that your moments of weakness disappointed me. Jesus said that faith as small as a mustard seed can move mountains, not because of the size of the faith, but because of the one in whom that faith is placed. I do not require perfect faith. I only ask for a heart that continues to turn toward me. My beloved child, I also want you to understand that my grace is not a reward reserved for those who never make mistakes. If my love depended on your performance, no one would be qualified to receive it. But I loved you before you were perfect. I chose you even while you were still wrestling with your weaknesses. As it is written, for by grace you have been saved, Ephesians 2:8. What I give to you does not come from your merit. but from my unchanging mercy. Therefore, the work I am doing is not only about repairing what is external. I am renewing the way you see yourself. I am healing the places where shame once lived. I am uprooting the words of condemnation that have followed you for far too long. I am replacing fear with peace, and the feeling of rejection with the assurance that you belong to me. Like a potter patiently reshaping the vessel in his hands, I am forming within you a new shape that aligns with my eternal purpose. Perhaps what I do will appear through very specific changes. A new opportunity may open when you least expect it. A door that seemed firmly shut may suddenly be opened. A relationship may be restored. A circumstance may change in a way you never imagined. But there are also times when the first thing I give you is peace that surpasses human understanding. A peace that allows you to rest even before the answer arrives. A peace that helps you know that everything is in my hands. As it is written, the peace of God, which surpasses all understanding, will guard your hearts and your minds. Philippians 4:7. My beloved child, do not limit the way I move according to the images you have imagined. What I have prepared for you may come differently from what you expected, but it will always be better than what I know is not suitable for you. For I do not only see today, I see the years ahead. I do not only see your present need, I see your eternal destiny. So continue to open your heart. Continue to walk in trust. Let my love lead you deeper into fellowship with me. For the greatest thing I am preparing is not merely a change in your circumstances, but the transformation of who you are. And there will come a day when you realize that the greatest gift was not only what I gave, but that you learned to walk closer to me, hear my voice more clearly, and know my heart more deeply. Then you will understand that everything I do flows from one single source, the everlasting love of the Father for you. My beloved child, there are seasons when you look toward heaven and feel as though everything has come to a standstill. You pray, yet you do not see the results. You wait expectantly, yet the door still seems closed. You sow your seeds in tears, yet the harvest has not appeared before your eyes. And in that silence, your heart sometimes wonders whether I am still at work. But my beloved child, the very seasons you call silent are often the busiest seasons within my divine plan. When your eyes see no movement, my hand is still arranging every detail. When you hear no answer, my power is still at work, like a master weaver working on the underside of a tapestry, where every thread appears tangled and meaningless. I am carefully connecting every strand to create a complete picture that only I can fully see. My beloved child, I know there are things you have carried in your heart for many years. There are prayers that have only been whispered in the quiet of the night. There are dreams you have not dared to share with anyone because you feared being disappointed once again. There are desires that even you have thought should be buried forever. But today, I want you to lift up your head. Do not allow weariness to extinguish the flame of hope. Do not let prolonged waiting convince you that my promises have lost their power. What I have ordained cannot be canceled by time. What I have spoken cannot be stopped by circumstances. As I declared through the prophet Isaiah, my purpose will stand, and I will accomplish all that I please. Isaiah 46:10. Remember the story of the widow of Zarephath. When the prophet Elijah came to her, she had only a handful of flour and a little oil left, enough for one final meal before she expected death. By every natural measure, it was the moment to cling tightly to what little remained. Yet I invited her to walk in faith. She released what she held in her hands instead of grasping it in fear, and that very act opened the door for a miracle. The jar of flour did not run dry, and the jug of oil did not fail until the famine had ended. Do you see? The miracle did not begin when the circumstances changed. The miracle began when faith responded to my invitation. This is also what I am teaching you today. I do not want you to stand at a distance merely observing the things I have promised. I want you to step into them with trust. There are those who ask for guidance, yet refuse to move. There are those who wait for doors to open while remaining seated in the same place. But my child, many times the answer from heaven is released when you dare to take a step forward. Faith is not sitting still until everything becomes clear before acting. Faith is moving when I speak, even though you cannot yet see the entire path ahead. Just as the Israelites stood before the Jordan River, the waters did not part from a distance to convince them to move forward. First, they had to place their feet into the water. Then, as they obeyed, the river parted before them. In the same way, there are things I am waiting for you to respond to, not because I lack the power to act first, but because I want you to learn how to walk with me. I want your faith to mature through obedience. For when you move according to my call, you will discover that my power has already gone before you. My beloved child, stop seeking the approval of everyone around you before doing what I have placed within your heart. If Abraham had waited for the agreement of everyone around him, he would never have left his homeland. If Peter had waited for the sea to become completely calm, he would never have walked upon the water. If Esther had waited until all danger was gone, she would never have entered the king's court to save her people. The people I used throughout Scripture were not those who understood everything. They were those who were willing to respond to my call. Perhaps even now I am whispering to you about a specific decision. Perhaps I am asking you to walk away from something that is draining your soul. Perhaps I am urging you to forgive someone who has wounded you. Perhaps I am calling you to begin the very thing you have delayed for so long because of fear of failure. Perhaps I am reminding you to sow the seed that you have continued to hold tightly in your hand. Whatever it may be, remember that my voice always leads you toward life. My voice does not lead you into destruction. My voice does not bring you into a dead end. My voice always leads you to the place where my eternal purpose for your life can be revealed. I know that human nature desires every answer before taking the first step, but faith does not work that way. Noah did not see rain when he began building the ark. Joshua did not see the walls of Jericho fall when he began walking around them. David did not see victory when he stepped forward to face Goliath. They possessed only one thing: trust in my word. And it was that trust that opened the way for the supernatural to appear. Therefore, my beloved child, do not remain within the comfort zone of delay. Do not allow fear to disguise itself as caution and hold you back. Do not allow old failures to become prophecies over your future. Rise up. Move forward. Do what I am placing in your heart. For when you walk in obedience, you will realize that I have already gone before you. When you place your feet into the water, I will do the part that only I can do. When you sow the seed of faith, I will bring forth the harvest at the appointed time. My child, do not be afraid of what lies ahead. Do not allow your heart to remain bound by what is behind you. I am making a way in the wilderness and causing rivers to flow through dry places. What was once an obstacle will become a testimony of my power. What was once a source of fear will become a witness to my faithfulness. If you continue walking with me, you will one day see with your own eyes the very things you once could only believe by faith. And when that day comes, you will understand that every season of waiting, every preparation, and every step of obedience was part of the good plan I established for your life from the very beginning. My beloved child, there is a truth I want to engrave deeply upon your soul in this very moment. I did not save you merely so that you could be safe, nor did I restore you merely so that you could live in peace. Everything I have done in your life has always been leading toward a purpose far greater than you realize. I did not pull you out of the pit so that you could stand at its edge and spend your life looking back. I did not bind up your wounds so that you could continue living within familiar limitations. From the moment I placed my hand upon your life. I saw far beyond what you could see. I saw the field ahead while you were still standing in the desert. I saw the harvest while you were still holding small seeds in your hand. And now, I am inviting you into a new dimension, where you are no longer merely a receiver of grace, but a carrier of that grace to other souls. My beloved child, there are seasons when I allow you to experience brokenness, not to cause you to collapse, but to enlarge the capacity of your heart. There are times when I lead you through winding paths because if I were to bring you to your destination too soon, you would not yet understand the hearts of those who are suffering. I am forming within you not only understanding, but also compassion. I am building within you not only faith, but also empathy. For those who have never wept often struggle to understand the tears of others. Those who have never been lifted up rarely know how to help someone who has fallen. But you have walked through dark seasons. You have learned what it means to wait. You have experienced what it is like to pray in silence. And all of these things are becoming part of my preparation for your life. My beloved child, many people see only the outcome of the journey you have traveled. They see your smile, but they do not know about the long nights when you wept. They see your faith, but they do not know how many times you wrestled with doubt. They see your peace, but they do not know the storms you have endured. But I know, I witnessed every moment, and because I know, I also know that not a single pain you have ever experienced has been meaningless. Just as Joseph was sold into slavery, falsely accused, and forgotten in prison, everything seemed like nothing more than a series of misfortunes. Yet when the appointed time came, he realized that what others intended for harm, I used to save many lives. The same is true in your life. I do not waste a single tear. I do not overlook a single scar. I am weaving everything together for a purpose far greater than you have ever imagined. Therefore, my child, do not only ask me, Father, what will you do for me next? Begin to ask, Father, what do you desire to do through me? That is the question of a mature soul. That is the question of someone who is no longer seeking only blessings, but is seeking the one who gives them. When you begin to ask this question, you will discover that every experience you have gone through contains a seed meant for someone else. There are people who need to hear your story. There are people who need the encouragement that only you can give. There are souls standing where you once stood. And what I have done in your life will become a lamp that lights their way. Remember the story of the boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish. What he held in his hands was very small compared to the need before him. Yet, he offered it up. He did not hold it back out of fear of lacking. He did not calculate whether it would be enough. He simply placed it into the hands of Jesus. And then that small offering was multiplied to feed thousands. My beloved child, what I am looking for in you is not perfection. I am looking for willingness. What matters is not whether you have much or little. What matters is whether you are willing to place what you have into my hands. For once it is placed in my hands, I can do far more than you could ever imagine. I also want you to understand that my calling upon your life is not a burden meant to weigh you down. I do not invite you into your eternal purpose through pressure or force. I invite you through love. Jesus said, "My yoke is easy and my burden is light." Matthew 11:30. This means that when you walk in your true calling, you will not live under the pressure of trying to prove your worth. You will live in the peace of knowing to whom you belong. You do not need to strive to become someone else. You only need to remain faithful to what I place before you each day. My beloved child, from this day forward, learn to rise each morning with a willing heart. Do not merely ask what you must do to survive the day. Ask me whom I desire to touch through you today. It may be a word of encouragement for someone who is losing hope. It may be an act of kindness that no one else sees. It may be a quiet prayer offered for a stranger. It may be the choice to forgive someone who has hurt you. These things may seem small in the eyes of the world, but in my kingdom, they carry eternal significance. Just as Philip was led by the Spirit to meet the Ethiopian official on a deserted road, many encounters in your life are not accidental. There are people whom I will place along your path at exactly the right moment. There are conversations that seem ordinary but have the power to change an entire life. There are doors that I open so that my light may shine through you into the lives of others. Therefore, live with your eyes wide open and your heart ready. Do not dismiss what appears to be a coincidence. Many of the things you call chance are, in fact, divine appointments arranged by heaven. My beloved child, a new chapter is opening before you. No longer a chapter of merely surviving, but a chapter of bearing fruit. No longer a chapter of only receiving, but a chapter of giving. No longer a chapter of searching for the light, but a chapter of becoming a bearer of light. What I have planted in your heart throughout the years was never meant to remain dormant. It will sprout, grow, and produce abundant fruit. And the day will come when you look back upon your journey and realize that the greatest miracle was not what I did for you, but what I did within you and through you. You will see lives strengthened, hearts encouraged, and people finding hope again because of what I accomplished in your life. Then you will understand that every season of waiting, every trial, and every moment of brokenness was part of my loving plan. For I did not merely desire to give you a miracle. I desired to make your life a river of grace, so that wherever you go, the life of heaven may flow through you and refresh those who are longing for hope. My beloved child, if I have touched your life, if I have led you through dark valleys and brought you back into the light, it was never meant to remain hidden in your heart as a beautiful memory. I do not pour oil into a vessel so that it may remain there forever. I do not light a lamp and place it beneath a basket. Everything I do in your life carries a purpose far greater than itself. I want what you have experienced to become a source of hope for those who are still searching through the darkness. I want what I have healed within you to become a testimony that no wound is too deep for my love, and no circumstance is too hopeless for my power. My beloved child, do not think that you must wait until you have a great position before you can serve me. Do not assume that only those who stand before crowds can influence souls. In my kingdom, many of the seeds that transform lives are planted in the most ordinary moments. A sincere conversation, a timely word of encouragement, a story told with honesty and authenticity, a quiet prayer offered for someone who is hurting. These things may appear small in human eyes, but in heaven they carry eternal value. Remember the Samaritan woman at the well. She was not a scholar of the scriptures. She held no position of honor in society, nor did she possess the kind of influence the world admires. Yet after encountering Jesus and experiencing transformation in her heart, she immediately ran into the city and shared what she had witnessed. She did not have a lengthy sermon. She simply spoke about what the Lord had done, and as a result, an entire city began seeking the Savior. Do you see? Many times, what I require is not perfection in presentation, but sincerity in testimony. My beloved child, perhaps there are moments when you look at your own story and think it is too small. You may believe that what I have done in your life is not extraordinary enough to share. But I want you to know that in my eyes, every expression of grace is a miracle. Every heart lifted out of despair is a victory of heaven. Every soul that finds hope again is a manifestation of the power of love. Do not measure the value of what I have done by the size of the event. Instead, look at the eternal impact it leaves behind. As it is written, "Give thanks to the Lord and proclaim his deeds among the peoples." Psalm 105:1. When you testify about my works, you create an opportunity for others to recognize that I am still moving today. My child, there are people standing exactly where you once stood. They are fighting the fears you once faced. They are carrying the questions you once carried. They are shedding the tears you once shed. And many times, what they need most is not a powerful sermon, but someone who can say, I understand that feeling because I have walked through it myself. This is why I do not waste the seasons of sorrow in your life. What once caused you to stumble will become a bridge that brings you closer to those who are hurting. What once made you weep will help you understand the tears of others. What once drove you to despair will become the language of compassion. As it is written, carry each other's burdens. Galatians 6:2. I have not called you to become a judge. I have not asked you to approach others with the attitude of someone who knows everything. I want you to draw near to people with mercy. Remember how Jesus treated the broken. He did not push them away. He sat with them. He listened to them. He touched the deepest places of their pain, and then he restored them through love. That is how I desire for you to walk through this world. My beloved child, there is a principle I have established in both nature and the spiritual life. Every seed is created to reproduce. A seed that remains forever in a hand will never become a field. A seed that is held back out of fear of loss will never bear fruit. But when it is planted in faith, life begins to work within it. The same is true of what I have entrusted to you. If you keep encouragement only for yourself, it will stop with you. If you keep your testimony only for yourself, its influence will remain limited. But when you share what I have done, when you sow what I have given you, I will cause it to multiply beyond anything you could imagine. Remember the boy with 5 loaves and 2 fish. What he held in his hands was far too little compared to the needs of the crowd. Yet, when he offered that small gift to Jesus, it became provision for thousands. The same is true for you. Perhaps what you carry is only a simple story. Perhaps it is only a few words of encouragement. Perhaps it is only a short prayer. But when you place it into my hands, I can multiply it into something that touches countless lives. My beloved child, I am preparing you for a season of spiritual fruitfulness. Not because you are more talented than others, not because you possess greater abilities, but because you are learning how to surrender. And surrender is the most fertile ground for my power to move. I am not searching for perfect people. I am searching for willing hearts. I am not looking for those who are always strong. I am looking for those who know how to depend upon me. Remember the promise I gave to Abraham, when I said that his descendants would be as numerous as the stars in the sky and as the sand upon the seashore. It was not merely a promise about numbers. It was a picture of the far-reaching influence of a faith that is fully surrendered. From one man who chose to trust me, I established generations. In the same way, through your obedience today, I can touch more lives than you can imagine. The words you speak today may become seeds planted in someone's heart. The prayers you offer today may become the means of deliverance for a family. The acts of love you show today may become the first step toward the restoration of a soul. Therefore, my beloved child, do not withhold what I have given you. Give it away with trust. Share my works with humility. Draw near to those who are hurting with compassion. Sow seeds of hope, faith, and love. Then you will witness something remarkable. The miracle will not stop with your own life. It will continue to multiply. It will continue to spread. It will continue to touch lands where your feet have never walked. And when you look back, you will realize that what I did in you was never meant for you alone. I prepared you to become a sower, a nurturer, and a bearer of heaven's light to many other lives, until an entire generation comes to know that I am still alive, still loving, and still working among them today.